Unmute the microphone. Check. Main image. Check. Don't forget to remove the welcome banner. Check. Hey there, everybody. Looks like we got ourselves a check, check, check. So welcome to Half and Half. Today's installment will be Whole and None. Some of you maybe saw in the chat, Colette has an event on the UW campus. And so we'll be doing a little bit of Pilates together, a little bit of yoga together, and it's just going to be me today. So let's start off on our backs. And on your back, begin with your knees bent and your feet flat upon the floor. And take a moment to feel the support of the floor. Most of our waking life, we're to some degree ready to fly into action. And so that would translate here into slightly holding your head up. Explore what it feels like to fully release the weight of your skull into the support of the floor. And now the same thing with your arms. At its a subtle level, quite often we're holding our arms as if we're prepared to fly into action. And take a moment to explore the alternative, to receive the support of the floor, releasing your arms into that support. And now the same with the back of your rib cage, the same with the back of your pelvis, and the same with your feet. So in this releasing, in this letting go, in this receiving the support from the floor, a consequence or a benefit is in moving from the front of the body into the back of the body. In times of stress, in times of tension, there's almost a sense that we are in the front of our bodies. And in times of ease or release, there can be a sense of inhabiting not only the front of the body, but also the back of the body. So to whatever extent you are inhabiting or aware of the back of your body, slowly, gradually, open up your eyes and explore the possibility of seeing your ceiling from the back of your skull. So rather than reaching your eyes forward to capture the image, let the image come to you. Let the photons come to your eye, to your retina. So now we're going to do a little bit of Pilates to warm up. And as best you can, maintaining this connection to the back of your body. Begin by interlacing your hands, and then bring your hands behind your head. And using your arms not only to lift your head, but also to extract your head out of your tailbone. And as you continue that tailbone extraction, lift your head, and more importantly, lift your shoulders. Now, once you've lifted up, relax the fronts of your legs. Let the fronts of your legs release into the backs of your legs. Let your thigh muscles Release into your hamstrings. And we'll hold here for a few more breaths. And then slowly, gradually roll down. Then single leg circle. Take your right heel, outstretch it on the floor. And take your left foot up toward the ceiling. Point your toes, what's called plantar flexion. Now, Cled often does a really methodical warm-up for the leg circles. We're just going to go right into it. Come across your body, down and out to the side. Kind of hard without the warm-up, isn't it? Best you can, keep your torso steady. Best you can, let your torso sink into the floor. So yes, the movement is happening out in front of you. All the while maintain that back of the body connection. Let's do one more circle this direction. And now the other direction. So letting the axis of the movement, the hip socket, ball and socket joint, is more in the back of your body than the front of your body. Let that movement originate more toward the floor. And let's do one more single leg circle. Lower that left leg down. Now take your left heel outstretched along the floor and take your right foot up. Remember that foot, plantar flexed. 2 feet do different things. Start by coming across, down, out to the side, and back to the beginning. Movement purely localized in the hip socket, not your torso tipping side to side, not your pelvis tipping forward and back. Really just a single joint articulating, hip joint. And maybe you already have a sense that that hip socket is closer to the floor than to your navel, more in the back of your body. Let's do one more this direction. Now the other direction. So as we continue with these leg circles, best you can, keeping your torso steady and stable. Let your field of vision come to you. Let the photons bounce off the objects, and let those photons take their own sweet time to come into your eyes. So rather than reaching out to the image, hang out, let the image come to you. Languid photons moving at 3 times 10 to the 8 meter per second. Let's do one more circle this direction. All right, then lowering that leg down. So let's go back to the mini crunch. So take a moment, feet on the floor supporting your torso, sinking into those sensations related to the floor supporting your torso, inhabiting the back of your body. Sometimes back of the body is referred to as back body. Continue inhabiting your back body and move into a mini crunch. Now, what I'll sometimes focus on when I do a mini crunch is letting my back ribs sink into the floor and broaden into the floor. So let's take a few moments with that back body image, but letting those lower back ribs sink and broaden, and let that be the mechanism that lifts your shoulders higher up. Hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come on down. All right, so now coming up to hands and knees. Now in hands and knees, we no longer have the benefit of the floor giving us direct sensory input. As best you can, maintain that somatic memory and align your spine via the back of your body. Back of your pelvis, back of your rib cage, across your upper back, back of your neck, and back of your head. So maintaining that alignment, maintaining that line as you turn your toes under. And then maintaining that line as you slowly lift your knees up and pull your butt back. Now, sometimes in this dog pose, we let the head hang. And today, let's keep neck and head aligned with the rest of the torso. Using the back of the body as the input for maintaining the alignment. A few more breaths here. And then step your feet forward to your hands. Let your head hang. One of the nice things about letting the head hang is naturally the back of the body opens. Back of the body both elongates and broadens. Maintain that spaciousness of the back of the body as you roll up. And maintaining that spaciousness of the back body as you turn toward the front. So now adding in breathing with your feet wide apart. Use the inhale to connect to your back body. So at minimum, when you inhale, fill your back ribs. As you inhale, inhabit the back of your neck. With the inhale, inhabit your lower back. Now, of course, maintain that inhabiting on the exhale as well. We're merely using the inhale as a reminder. Drive the inhale into the back of your torso. Then turn your left foot in and your right foot out. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Up and down like that. The next time the front knee in the bent position, pause there. Lift that heel up a few inches. And then slowly over a count of 5, descend that heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Few breaths here. Press that foot down in order to come up and turn back to the front. Let the inhale broaden your back. Maintain that space as you exhale. Aerate the back of your body. Turn your right foot in, left foot out. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Up and down like that. Now, one of the challenges is that the organs of perception are mainly oriented toward the front. So we tend to be really keyed into, geared toward what's in front of us. Next time your knee is bent, let's pause there and bring as much consciousness into the back of your torso. Maintaining that embodiment in the back body. Bent knee. Take that corresponding heel up. Slowly, over a count of 5, descend that heel down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Few breaths here. Push that foot down to come up and turn back toward the front. First side again, turn your left foot in, right foot out. An additional layer here is make sure that your pelvis is level. Make sure that your waistband is horizontal. Then maintaining that horizontal, bend your front knee. Maintaining your waistband horizontal, let your thigh bone drop into the back body. Let your thigh bone drop into your hamstring muscle. Drop your thigh bone without dropping your pelvis. Holding for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale up. Exhale back to the front. Second side. Right foot in, left foot out. So this is about releasing a very particular muscle that tends to hold tension called the iliopsoas. First step, levelize your pelvis. Horizontal waistband. Keeping that horizontal as you bend your front knee. Bending the front knee without dropping the corresponding hip. Then for a lot of us, the thigh bone is tensing up into the quadricep. Let your thigh bone drop into the hamstring, moving from the front of the body into the back of the body. And give it a shot. Maybe you don't feel anything. Maybe you vaguely feel something. Whatever you may or may not feel, a few more counts here. Come on up. Turn back to the front. And then step your feet together. Now I'm going to turn to the side for the sun salutation so you can see it a little bit better. Feel free to stay oriented toward your screen. Exhale, both arms up. Inhale, fold. Exhale, gorilla. Inhale, step back to head down dog. And let's pick up here where we left off. Keeping your neck and head in line with the rest of your torso. And we'll hold here for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And come on down to your knees. All the way down to your back. So you might be thinking, wait a minute, I thought we got the Pilates out of the way. We're going to keep returning to the Pilates. There's so many fundamental key points that are so important here. So let's begin as we began. Feeling the floor and letting consciousness seep into the back of the body. Almost like a nice spring rain soaks into the soil. And let your intelligence move from the front of the body, where it tends to accumulate, to more fully inhabit the back body, which can create a sense of steadiness and a sense of calm. Maintaining that sense of steadiness, that sense of calm, let your thigh bones release out of your thigh muscles and into your hamstring. And give it a shot, even if it's not immediately evident what that means or what that feels like. Then take your right leg, outstretch it on the floor, reach out through that heel. And as you do so, let your right leg thigh bone drop toward the floor. And bring your left leg up, knee over hip. Thigh tends to tense into the thigh muscle, thigh bone. Let that thigh bone release into the hamstring. Sometimes I'll put my fingertips on my hamstring as a sort of a target to release the thigh bone into that target. Maintaining that thigh bone into the hamstring. Take the left foot up, plantar flex that foot. And to whatever extent you can feel your thigh bones moving into the hamstrings, let's take 2 leg circles each direction quietly together. Lower that left leg down, bend your right knee. And now take your left heel, reach it up. That foot, left foot dorsiflex. In a few moments here, let that left thigh bone release away from the ceiling, into the floor, into the hamstring. Then bring your right leg up into the vertical axis, releasing thigh bone into the hamstring, and letting that right hamstring be the target for the thigh bone. As you slowly take the foot up, plantar flexed as you do so, then 2 circles each direction. Across, down and out, and the other direction. And then lower that right leg down. Now both knees bent, both feet flat upon the floor. Mini crunch. Let's take the first few moments of mini crunch quietly together. And then once your thighs are in sight, left thigh releasing into left hamstring, whatever that may or may not feel like. Right thigh releasing into right hamstring, whatever that may or may not feel like. And that's about releasing a really key postural muscle, releasing tension in the iliopsoas. And then slowly roll your spine down, segment by segment. And then the hands and knees. So you can probably see we have a persistent theme here, back of the body. So begin with aligning your spine with a sense of aligning the back of your body. And turn your toes under. Now in a movement, you can probably see this one coming. We're going to move into yoga pose, head down dog. Make that transition by moving your thigh bones back into your hamstrings. So let's do that quietly together. Press your thigh bones into your hamstring. Maybe you've already noticed how that tends to lengthen spine. So let your whole spine lengthen. Tailbone moves up and back behind you at the same time as the crown of your head moves forward toward your thumbs. Lengthening your spine by moving your thigh bones into back body. Moving your thigh bones into the hamstrings. A few more breaths here. And walk your feet forward to your hands. Let your head hang to open up the back of your body. And maintaining that consciousness of back body as you roll up. Maintaining that consciousness of the back body as you step your feet wide apart. Using your breath to reinforce the back body. In particular, the in-breath. So let's continue this thread. Turn your left foot in, right foot out. Horizontal pelvis. Maintaining horizontal pelvis, let your thigh bone drop into the hamstring to initiate the knee bend. Maybe you already noticed as you drop that thigh bone down, there's a little more space for this corresponding hip. Let that space facilitate tipping your hips. Ending up with hand on knee, hand on hip, and settling into the diagonal line. So now adding in the back leg, straight leg. Release that thigh bone into the hamstring. And some people report when they do that, there's a sense of lengthening that accompanies. Inhale, come on up. Turn back to the front. Step your feet together. So take a moment for mindfulness. Excuse me. Left side, right side. Do they feel the same? If they feel different, what feels different? Dropping into your body. Different than thinking about your body. All right, let's take a look at the other side. Step your feet wide apart. Turn your right foot in, left foot out. Make sure your pelvis is horizontal. Keeping horizontal waistline. Drop your left thigh bone down to the floor to initiate the knee bend. Then that space that naturally occurs in the left hip, enjoy that space, facilitating the tip. Hand to knee, hand to hip. As the front leg drops into the hamstring, similarly in the back leg, release that thigh bone into the back body, which in time with practice will release the tension in the front of the body that tends to pull the head and the shoulders forward. This is good for posture. A few more breaths here. Come on up, turn back to the front, and step your feet together. Inhale into the back of your body. Maintain that presence as you exhale. Inhale into back body. Remain in your back body as you exhale. Just like we explored on our backs, let whatever visually is in front of you come to you. And if we think in terms of laws of physics, light bounces off the object. Selectively, some frequencies are absorbed, some are reflected, and thus we perceive the different colors. The image effortlessly take whatever time it takes to come to you. First side again. Step your feet wide apart. Turn your left foot in, right foot out. So we've talked about releasing the thigh bones into the hamstrings. And let's move into the side angle like we did before, quietly together. Then to whatever extent you feel your thigh bones releasing into the back body, take your upper arm forward and through, and then take a peek at your ceiling. Come on up, back to the front. Second side, right foot in, left foot out, without dropping your left hip. Drop your left thigh bone. Shift your torso from vertical to diagonal. Release both thigh bones into the hamstrings. Upper arm sweeps forward and through. And take a peek at your ceiling. Come on up, back to the front, and step your feet together. Like I did before, I'm going to turn sideways. You can continue facing forward toward your screen. And we're going to use the breath to guide the movement to end up in head down dog. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, fold. Exhale, gorilla. Inhale, back. Move your thigh bones into your hamstrings to decompress your lower back. Keep reaching the crown of your head toward your thumbs, accompanying thigh bones moving into back body to decompress your upper back, to decompress your neck. And a few more breaths here. And then come on down to your knees, down into sitting, and crossing your legs. Now, in sitting, this whole back body conversation can be a whole lot more abstract because it could sound like, oh, open the back of the body, sit with your spine shaped like the letter C. This is more subtle than that. Sit up tall. perched right on the apexes of your sitting bone. And then using the breath, just as we did in standing. So the net result of this back body conversation is sitting taller with less effort. And don't worry if you aren't feeling that just yet. It comes in time with practice. So maintaining that back body consciousness, twist to your right. A few more breaths here. And back toward the middle. Second side. And back toward the middle. But facing toward the middle, make note what leg is in front. And once you have that in your body memory, we'll come back to it here in a short while. Back onto your back. Knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. I'm going to take the next half minute or so to hit the rewind button all the way back to the beginning of our session and letting the floor provide input to more fully inhabit the back body. And then if you closed your eyes, as you slowly open your eyes, let the image come to you. So rather than your face perceiving, let the back of your head perceive the visual field. It's almost like the back of your skull was a screen that the image was projected upon. Maintaining that back body intelligence as you roll your spine up into shoulder bridge. Few breaths here. And then slowly roll down. Now one more time. Posterior pelvic tilt initiates the process, segment by segment rolling up. Embodying the back of the body as you slowly, gradually roll down. Then back up to sitting. In sitting, cross your legs the other way. Tendency is defaulting to being on the back of the sitting bones in sort of a slouching position. So right up on the points of your sitting bones to sit up tall. Divert the inhales into the back of the body. And maintaining that presence in back body throughout the duration of the out breath. Twist to your right. back to the middle, twist to your left, and back to the middle. So continuing this thread onto your front side. So rolling onto your front, hands under your shoulders, looking straight down at the floor. When you look straight down at the floor, maybe you can feel the back of your neck elongates. And keeping that sense of lengthening your whole spine, not just your neck. And then move your thigh bones into the hamstrings as the means, as the mechanism to lift your legs up a little bit. And continue inhabiting your back as you lift your head and lift your chest. Float your hands up. Reach your arms back. Few breaths here. And then come on back down. Hands by your armpits. Press up to hands and knees. Remember that transition to head down dog is from the thigh bones, releasing into the back body, together quietly. And then come on down to sitting. Knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. Root those sitting bones down so that you sit up tall. Take your left foot forward. As you take your left foot forward, release that corresponding thigh bone into the floor. And bring your left arm across, right hand behind, and breathe. Fully inhabit the back of your body. Back in toward the middle, back to the starting point. Root down to sit up tall. Take your right foot forward, right thigh bone down into the floor. Right arm comes across, left hand behind. And breathe. So just like if you went to an unfamiliar place, you might have the help of a tour guide. Let your inhale be the tour guide that brings you into the back body. Into the space between your shoulder blades. Into the junction of upper back and neck. And into the back of your neck and the back of your skull. And turn back toward the front. Take both legs out in front. Both thigh bones dropping down. Fold from the hips. And when you hit the terminus of hip flexion, then fold from your spine, including your neck, so you end up looking down. Hands maybe come forward to your knees, maybe to your shins. maybe way out there toward your feet. And let this particular position open up the back of your body. Create more back body space for the in-breath. Couple more breaths. And then mobilize your spine to come back up to the vertical. A mirror image of you all. I'm going to bring my left leg in. How about you bring your right leg in? Variation on the theme. Fold from your hip. When there's no more ease in hip folding, then round your spine. Roll back up. Both feet back forward. Thigh bones press down. Bring your left foot in. Fold forward. Roll back up. Both legs forward. Bend both legs. Join your soles. Hands could either catch your feet or be back behind you. Either one, your choice. Sit up tall while simultaneously fully living in the back of your body to help calm the mind, to support more being fully present. Bring your legs back up, back forward. One more forward fold before we go into the closing part of our class. Fold forward, open the back of your body. Back of the body lengthening. Back of the body broadening. And then taking a snapshot of what it feels like to have this length and breadth across the entire back of the body. Roll up and take a seat. So maybe up on a cushion, maybe sitting up on a stool or a chair. The main point here is that let sitting up be somewhat, or at least relatively easier. So by sitting up, we take hip mobility out of the equation. So after a long while, we get to the quote unquote punchline. If you're looking to improve your posture, constricting the back of your body is going to have a short-term benefit at best. So begin by opening the back of your body. And part of lengthening the back of the body is to hold, hold your head up high. which starts the process of lengthening the front of the body, doesn't it? So back body lengthens, front body lengthens. Back body broadens. And now let's work on broadening across the collarbones. To do so, first lift your shoulders up, then draw your shoulders a little bit back. But make sure opening across your collarbones doesn't constrict across your upper back. But let your shoulders ever so slightly relax down. So somewhat counterintuitively, to improve your posture, to stand tall, to sit upright, begins with the back body. And once firmly embodied in back body, then open up the front. As you do so, remain centered on your sitting bones, neither rocking too far forward, sort of an overeager posture, nor tipping back, sort of a dull posture. Open your back, to open your front. All right. I'm wrapping a minute or so early here because I want to share some news with you all. So one piece of news is I defended my dissertation, and so I have a few edits left on my dissertation, and then I'll officially fully be a doctor, PhD. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is to share with you all is that we've been doing the Saturday class half and half since the onset of the pandemic. And in doing a review of our studio and our personnel and resources, we've made the hard decision that as we're moving from this particular phase of the pandemic and returning pretty much fully, if not more than fully, back to in person, that we're going to bring to a close doing these live half and half classes. Now, don't worry, we'll keep the video library accessible. $10 per month will give you unlimited access to the hundreds and hundreds of classes that we have online. So you'll still have these resources available. And then Colette and I will periodically create new content that we will roll out for that same price, $10 per month. We'll be sending out an email on Monday to give you all the details about this forthcoming shift. We'll be going for the next month, and we're anticipating our last live half and half class will be on Saturday, May 6th. And then after that, you'll have unlimited access to all our videos. So anyway, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the weekend and see you next weekend. Bye-bye.